an actor, and someone offers you the opportunity to play the largest role in the most famous play by the most popular dramatist in the English language, you say yes. When you're a woman and someone offers you that chance, you say hell yes. And most people you encounter are cool with that. Probably because it's just not that new of an idea. Women have been playing Hamlet since the 1700s. But the question you inevitably have to answer is, will you choose to play it as a man or as a woman? Now, both are valid and both are interesting. But there's something important right now in playing the character as a woman. I mean, if you were to present me with a character who idolizes their father, has a complicated relationship with their mother, needs to talk through every problem, struggles with imposter syndrome, and takes the bulk of a 3.5-hour play to do one thing, I'd guess you were talking about a woman. But in searching for a real answer to that implied question, why does it matter now to see Hamlet played by a woman as a woman? We first have to go back a bit in time. In Shakespeare's England, the very concept of equality between the sexes would have been unthinkable to most people. England at the dawn of the 17th century is a world that exists on the binary. You're noble or you're common. You're Protestant or you're Catholic. You're a man or you're a woman. And in Shakespeare's England, a woman cannot vote in an election. Her income, her possessions, her property are all legally her husband's. She can be chastised or beaten with impunity by her husband as long as he does not actually kill her. And it almost goes without saying, she cannot perform on stage. So in a world in which no two men are born equal, how could we possibly conceive that a woman might possess the intelligence or complexity of thought equal to that of a man? Yet, throughout the latter half of the century, a woman occupied the throne of England. By the time she died in 1604, Elizabeth I had ruled for over 40 years. And it is in this world, ruled by a powerful and rhetorically skilled female monarch, that young William Shakespeare begins to write plays. And the beautiful thing about the Elizabethan theater is that it is for everyone. Everybody goes to the theater. Young, old, rich, poor, noble, common, men and women. And young Will Shakespeare is no dummy. He knows that half his audience will be comprised of the fairer sex. And so, as he matures as a playwright, he begins not only to write some of the most fearless, resolute, high-spirited, and intelligent heroines in the Western canon, but to continually blur the lines between the masculine and the feminine, thereby creating characters, both male and female, that refuse to be defined by their archetype. They're no longer a king, a soldier, a lover, a shrew. They are wonderfully, infuriatingly, bafflingly, undeniably human. Fast forward 400 years. Multiple waves of feminism have washed over us. Voting rights, property rights, reproductive rights, female sexuality, family dynamics, workplace inequality, sexual harassment, intersectionality, mansplaining, the Bechdel test, the female gaze. Me too. And yet, if life worked like the modern American theater, 4 out of 5 things you had ever heard would have been spoken by a man. We tell ourselves that we live in a modern world, and we do, and we don't. Because we still live in a world in which our language, our emotions, our professions, and our societal expectations are gendered. Despite all our strides forward, women are still grossly underrepresented in leadership across business, technology, politics, arts, and entertainment. We might be able to conceive that a woman could possess the intelligence or complexity of thought equal to that of a man, but our reality doesn't yet reflect that thinking. So, how do we move from conception to reality? We have to be able to imagine it. And there is no better place to exercise our imagination than in the theater. In the prologue to Henry V, Shakespeare implores his audience, let us, ciphers to this great accompt on your imaginary forces work, for 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings. So why does it matter now to see Hamlet played by a woman as a woman? It matters for the generation before me, who, for most of their formative years, a woman could not sit on a jury, apply for a credit card in her own name, expect equal pay for equal work, get an Ivy League education, or report sexual harassment in the workplace. So what might it mean to them to imagine Hamlet as a woman, to watch her embark on vigilante justice, share an alma mater with Martin Luther, and be both the victim and the aggressor? It matters for the generation after me, who for most of their formative years have lived in a world where their privacy is virtually non-existent, rates of depression and anxiety have skyrocketed, and girls in particular feel enormous pressure to be superhuman, every opportunity marred by self-criticism, overthinking, and fear of failure. So what might it mean to them to imagine Hamlet as a woman, to see her walk through a world where she is kept under close surveillance, battle with the extremes of depression, anxiety, and grief, and spend most of her journey on a path marked by self-criticism, overthinking, and fear of failure? It matters because Shakespeare's female characters are wonderful, but there just aren't enough of them. 16% of the roles in the whole canon are written as women. In Hamlet, the two female characters, Gertrude and Ophelia, together speak 9% of the play. It matters because at a sum total of 1,495 lines, Hamlet is Shakespeare's noisiest protagonist. And we still live in a world that struggles to accept noisy women. It matters that our daughters can imagine a woman saying those words. It matters that our sons can imagine a woman thinking those thoughts. It matters that we take the opportunity to imagine the way the world could be. Thank you.